So we would like to welcome you to the Fin Inn, established in 1998. This is going to be a great devotional about God's invisible power. And I'm going to be able to have James and Nena's kids participate with me. And they're going to show us some amazing powers that even they have that are invisible. Ooh. So, first of all, I want to show you a scripture. In Romans chapter 1. This is Paul writing to the church in Rome. He says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse." Now let me ask you guys, what is something that's invisible? What does that mean if it's invisible?
You can't see it.
So close your eyes. Now, can you see anything?
No.
But does that make everything around you invisible?
No.
Because if you open your eyes, what happens?
You can see everything.
So just because you can't see it, even if you try as hard as you want, if something is invisible, can you see it?
No.
No way, right? It's just something that's not able to be seen. But see, Paul says God's invisible qualities, and it talks about His eternal power and His divine nature can be seen from what has been made. In other words, there are amazing things that God can show us that are part of His evidence of the power that He has and His eternal nature. So first of all, come on over here, Jenna. You hold on to that.
I'll rip it.
Now, just let it go. Now, who can tell me, why did it fall to the ground?
Gravity.
Can we see gravity?
No.
Do we ever doubt gravity?
No.
But why did it fall to the ground?
Gravity.
Because what did gravity do?
Pull it down.
It pulled it down. Would you say that gravity is invisible?
Mm-hmm.
But can you see what it does?
Yeah.
See, sometimes God's invisible, but we can see what He does. And so, now, you hold on to it again. Just like that. Hold it like that. Okay? And James. Well, James, we're going to go with, we'll go with Victoria. Push the button and put it underneath it. Now, you hold on to it. Oh, don't pull it. No, just hold it gently on the top. Like that. Touch it to it. And let it go. And just jiggle it a little bit. Jiggle it a little bit. Now, where'd it go? Hang on, we'll put it back on there. You don't have to you can turn the button off. Just let it. And I'm going to turn it on and say, what happened?
It was on the stick.
It was on the stick, and when Victoria pushed the stick, what happened?
It was staying up in the air.
It was staying up in the air, and then what happened?
When she turned it off, it fell
Where?
onto my shirt.
Now, what made it go across there?
I don't know.
Exactly. But could you see it?
No.
It was invisible. And I'm going to explain what that invisible power is. This device puts electrons all over the cardboard tube. It generates static electricity. In fact, if you come over here, I want to show you this device.
Oh, fancy.
So, you know what that is that's going across there? Electricity. And these jars are called Leyden jars. They're able to store a lot of electrons. And when you push these rods down, and I spin the discs, it's like friction. Did you ever drag your feet across the floor and then shock somebody on a rug?
Yeah.
Well, that's static electricity. So this puts static electricity, puts it in the jars, and then every inch is 70,000 volts. So that's about an inch. So that means there's 70,000 volts jumping across there. Would you say that's powerful?
Yeah.
You think that would hurt if you put your hand in there?
Yes.
Yes, it would hurt if you put your hand in there. I've had my high school students volunteer to be zapped, but I'm not going to ask you guys to volunteer to be zapped. But you see, it's so powerful that when it jumps through the air, we can even see the path, right? Well, similarly, this puts a lot less electrons. But even those very few electrons, Samuel, you hold on to it now, and then push the button. And then, Victoria, you put it on top of it again. Just, let me try it. I'll let you help in a minute. Now, watch this. It's floating, right? What force is pulling it down?
Gravity.
But it's not going down. So what do you think this is doing to that that's keeping it from going down?
Defying gravity.
It's defying gravity. And would you say it's an invisible force?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, it's an invisible force, right?
What is he?
But it's not on.
Well, this is what's cool. The static electricity stays there. So Samuel, come over here now. Stand over. Oh, now turn back on. Okay, now put your hand up. Up, look here. Oh, look what happened. It's stuck to you. Is there any glue on that?
No.
But it's stuck to you. Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
It's an invisible force.
I
Put your-
pretend to like these
Can you shock people with that?
It's not enough to shock people. That would be what I would use to shock people. Now, Victoria, put your hand out. Oh, that stuck to Dad's camera. Put your hand out. It's stuck to you. Now turn your hand over. And the electrons went off. Now turn your hand over. You see, until the electrons go off, it'll stay stuck to you.
Wow.
Now, if we make it go to the ceiling, now it goes up to the ceiling.
And now it's stuck on that.
I don't want to break it. I may have to get a different one. I'll play with a different one. But the idea here is it's an invisible power. Just like you were able to draw it to your hand, I'm going to get a different one out. Now you guys stand, Victoria, you stand here, and Jenna, you stand here, and Samuel, Victoria, you stand here, Samuel, you stand there. So I'm going to make it float, and I'm going to make you guys try to attract it without making it stick to you. So, don't let it, put your hand up this way this time. So try to attract it, but then pull your hand away so it doesn't stick to it. Oh, not fast enough. Because what happens is, when this has electrons in it,
It gets stuck to the ceiling.
for a few minutes, what happens when it has electrons in it, electrons repel other electrons. So there's electrons on that, and there's electrons on this. Would you guys agree that it's an invisible force?
Yes.
Now, what's the proof that it repels this? Why do you know that this repels that?
Because when you put that next to it, it never gets stuck.
Exactly, it shoots away from it, right? And then when it was floating, it was the force of the electric field was the same as the force of the gravitational field, right? And now when it's up there, the reason it's up there is the electrons on the piece of mylar are repelling the electrons in the ceiling. So the part of the ceiling becomes positive. So opposite things attract. Like things repel. So it's invisible. Even that, if we took that down, there's no tape there. There's nothing making it stick except an electric force. Now, electric forces can be powerful, right? Like 70,000 volts. But even a little bit of electric force, like touch this, are you going to get shocked?
No.
Do you think you would want to put your finger in there?
No.
No, that's a big electric force.
No.
Samuel might want to do it. Maybe when we go off camera. Anyway. But the point being that even a small bit of electric force is powerful. Even though it's not enough to shock you, you see what it does. And see, that's where Paul is saying that the invisible qualities of God are clearly understood. There are some amazing things in our universe. And the invisible qualities of God is the power of prayer, even the way the Bible can teach us, even the way the church can work together. These are all things that are invisible qualities of God. But don't they bring proof that God really is who he says he is? Mm-hmm. See, that's important. And I want to share one other scripture. It's because invisible and unseen. Because isn't unseen similar to invisible? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, this is what I want us to think about. So, this is Paul encouraging the church in Corinth. And this is what he would encourage any one of us. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, like all the things you can see, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, and for what is unseen is eternal. Like, is God going to go anywhere?
No.
And he's going to always be there. These seen things, they're temporary. Like when my parents first bought your home, it was needing a lot of work because seen things wear out.
There it is.
We're going to talk about that. Okay? Seen things wear out. Unseen things are eternal. So like this force of electricity, if I kept the electrons on the wand, that would stay floating there forever. Forever. And do we ever wonder if gravity is going to work? It's always going to work.
Yeah.
So the idea here is that we should appreciate the unseen and invisible and powerful things of God. And these few electrons are enough to show some pretty amazing stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
So everyone, that's about 70,000 volts right there.
Does it hurt?
It hurts a little bit. But it's not as much as... Normally the air would be much drier. And there'd be a much bigger charge. So, what's that light that we already saw?
The thing that floated up.
Mm-hmm. Because what it is...
Why are they going away from each other when the electrons go to the hair? What does it show you about electrons? If the hairs all start moving away from each other, what does it show you about electrons? They don't like each other, right? They push, they repel each other.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven on earth with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven on earth with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. My God is awesome. Your God is awesome. Tell the world He's awesome. My God is awesome. Your God is awesome. Tell the world He's awesome. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven on earth with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God.
We're so glad that you got to come and be a part of the Fin-In family fun with the French and Maury's. All those F's in one sentence are pretty cool.
Yep.
And we're glad you could be with us today. And Jenna is going to close us out with a prayer and reminding us of how awesome God is even when He's invisible.
Dear God, thank you for this day. And help us to remember you're a powerful God.
Even when you're invisible,
Even when you're invisible,
still help us with everything in our life.
you still help us with everything in our life.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.